my neighbor's guy to plow the driveway. And the last 3 years, he never has, or if he did, he did it once and didn't charge me. So this year it will be a different story.
Yes, yeah.
Mm.
We're always happy for our plow guys.
Oh, yeah. It's nice now, though, right? This week is going to be nice.
Yeah, there's still quite a bit of snow on the ground. It's still melting down, but
It's going to be a sloppy mess when it gets going.
I don't
We're gonna
know.
have 60s today and tomorrow this afternoon, maybe,
Oh, my
maybe.
God.
hmm I know.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And this is better. And when you get that in January, you know it's just fake. But now it's like, yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Has anybody else been away? No. Sorry. As I show off my sunburned forehead.
do it, do it.
Yeah.
We can live vicariously.
Yeah. No, it's funny. We haven't had this before, but it's like almost every afternoon between 4 and 6 we'll get rain.
Hmm.
But it's never predicted. They never say it's going to happen. You don't see any clouds when you head out. So we were like a mile down the beach on a walk the other day and it started pelt. It was like just a little bit of fine stuff and then just poured. We got back to the car like drowned rats, but kept saying, it's not snow.
It
We're
isn't.
good.
That's a very tropical kind of rain. It's just an instant
Yeah,
downpour and then it stops and the sun comes out
right.
again.
Which is great. It's been drought down here, so for
Oh,
the past year, so
oh,
it's
good.
good that it's coming.
There goes the price of orange juice.
You know what? That was the thing I looked into this year, because normally when you get freezes down here, you see that on the news every night,
Right,
how what
right.
terrible time the orange orchards are having and stuff. And I found out that that industry is almost gone. We get all of our oranges from Brazil.
Whoa.
I know that, and I've never heard anything about that. But I was wondering why it wasn't on the news, and I checked into it. So.
Country we don't want to tick off. Then
And
so
if you look at your bag of oranges, you will see it.
Brazil.
Yeah.
How I wonder how they get all these fruits from those places. Do they fly them? That's expensive. Do they send them in a boat? That takes too long. How do they
Yeah.
actually get it up here?
Good question.
It's a mystery. I
We
think,
are all here
okay,
and
tell us.
um we're live on YouTube. So
All
we're all
right.
set to go when you guys are set to go.
Okay, it's 11:01. This is March 9th, 2026, and I'm calling to order the meeting of the Southborough Library Board of Trustees. The first order of business is the approval of minutes from the January 24 and February 9 meetings. Do I have any emendations or corrections?
I saw a couple minor, uh,
Scriveners?
you know, um, yeah,
Grammatical.
grammatical stuff. I wouldn't worry about it.
All
I
right.
couldn't print them and save them, so they
You're
were
on
fine. It was
vacation.
perfectly comprehensible and
Yeah.
whatever. Jane probably picked them up too.
Full disclosure for the January 24th meeting,
Mm,
it is almost verbatim copied from the select board minutes that were submitted.
Yeah,
So I did kind of do that.
yeah, that's fine.
good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good use of your time. Okay, do I have a motion to accept the minutes for the 24th and the 9th?
So
So
moved.
moved. Okay.
Do I have a
Okay,
second?
second.
All those in favor, let's do it. Landry, aye.
Davis, aye.
Chaos reigns. Yes, it's unanimous. Amy, you're on. Did you vote?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay,
It's
Mani,
unanimous.
I.
Yes.
Kinsey, I.
All right,
Yes,
I'm gonna.
Donnie, I.
Oh, thank you. All right, I'm gonna start calling. Back to the calling. All right, so that is business taken care of. The director's report. Ryan, what do we have?
Well, so much. But before we go on to that, I just wanted to let you know, Marguerite, I think you get CC'd on all these emails, but there was a question whether or not we were overdue on minutes from last July,
Mhm.
that they were sent in, it was resolved. I think part of the problem was the turnover in the clerk's office
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the fact that there were different emails being used for the minutes. So I have checked in with Jim. The minutes have been posted for July. We are no longer on that list.
We're no longer
Uh,
delinquent, right?
we technically weren't though, because I could document when they were sent in, and they were sent in late, but they were sent in late last year. So it's been resolved now. I just wanted to say double check that. Sometimes Marguerite and I get notices on overdue minutes, and then we try to, look at to see what
Right.
happened. But
Right.
okay, director's report.
And thank you to Mariana for the minutes, and Ryan, you too.
Hmm.
Uh, thanks. I will let her know too. But
Please, yep.
okay, I thought I had it up. I guess I sure didn't. Okay. Give me a sec, guys. Sorry. All right. Yes. So, Janet, I don't know if you got a chance to read the director's report, and this really for everybody else too. But when you brought up the payroll issue, I want you to know that I followed up on that and I took it very seriously. So, not only did I look into it, I realized generally you're getting a payroll middle of the month, and that is what is
Ah.
included in the expense report. What happened in the last expense report was that you weren't just up to date, you were into the current month by a
Oh.
couple days, by 3 days. So that made a difference. That was why it looked in particular like it was over. The
Mm-hmm.
same thing is true for this expense report for people with the eagle eyes. I did sit down with Carla because I ran my own payroll projections. I looked at basically three different scenarios. In two of them, we turned back a slight amount of money to the town. In one of them, we went over. And that kind of was different scenarios where if we called people in, if people were out sick, stuff like that. What Carla had done late last year was she had taken like half the year, so from July to December, and she doubled that amount. What she had was us turning back $76.
Okay.
So I think this is all worth noting. I'm glad that Janet kind of brought it up in the last meeting. We, for many years, have done kind of a payroll turnback. And one of the things I talked to Carla about is that that's unlikely to happen this year. We
Mm-hmm.
really are using all of the budgeted money for salaries that we're planning to use. And it is something that I kind of have to keep an eye on before the end of the year to make sure that we're under. If we do go over for whatever reason, there are a couple options that we can talk about, but I don't think we're there yet, if that makes sense. And Janet, when you come back, if you want to sit down with Carla and I, we can go over some of those. And then again, hopefully that's like a worst case scenario. We don't have to talk about going over. But I just hope that that clarifies. I'm happy to answer any questions you
But that's
guys
okay.
have.
Actually, this month looked fine.
Okay.
So,
Well, so a lot of people were out sick. So that kind of shows what happens when that goes out. And then I
yeah.
will also just mention it's not obviously a life-threatening thing, but one of our part-time people is having a sinus surgery and will be out for a couple weeks. So that is also going to help with sort of this payroll. And then I've talked with the staff and the supervisors. They don't want to cover that particular staff member's shifts. So what I think will happen before the end of the year, especially as the weather is getting nicer, we're going to see more and more people out. Um, Hopefully for legitimate illnesses, but I think some people may schedule things and may want to be out. And when part-time people are out, we don't pay them. So I think also the snow days helped in particular because we were closed for a number of days
Hmm.
over the past month.
Yeah,
So
I wasn't terribly concerned because normally things come in, but I thought it was worth a discussion of staffing when
I
we were
agree.
over.
And I have to say, if you saw my face and you heard my reaction last month, I was a little blindsided. I guess I didn't realize that we were that close financially because I hadn't done the projections. I typically do those at the beginning of April, but I think this has kind of kept me honest a little bit. I think maybe I should start doing that half year thing that Carla did. Like I kind of asked her about best practices. And I have to say, I've never talked about doing the salary projections with the town accountant. That was very helpful, that talk. And then I did ask Carla, and I don't want to like quote her, but I did say, are you concerned about the amount of money? And she said no. So that was kind of her take. So
Mhm.
she made me feel a little bit better about it. And then I think maybe February, March is when I might start this next year, especially if we don't have any attrition, which is the situation this year. Nobody left. And that's typically why we do a turn back. So I can move on if nobody
Yes,
has any salaries. Okay. Yes, there were complaints about the lack of handicapped parking spaces. I wanted to bring that to your attention.
you mean
We have
being
followed
plowed?
up.
You mean
They were
they
not
weren't
plowed.
plowed,
The
right?
ones, yeah, the ones directly across from the entrance. Some
They're
people
still
have
not usable.
what?
They're still not usable.
Correct. They are starting to get better. And then I will say some of our more adventurous handicapped patrons have parked there anyway. So what I've told people, and I've mentioned this to the DPW staff, is that if anybody brings this to our attention, asks for special consideration, we're letting them know that they can park in front of the book drop, because that right now is an area that is kind of, I think, away from all the other cars. It's typically for a temporary period, so it would be for I'm saying an hour or less, but really we prefer like a 15-minute, like a come in, grab something, and then go. We have told people that there is the handicap van space that they can utilize that's just up the walkway into the parking lot. So we've given a couple. People are mad at us. I think people are aware of the snow, but I think mainly people wanted to bring this to my attention, and they wanted some people have directly followed up with DPW because they felt strongly about it. And all of this has been done. They are aware of it. If they could have cleared the snow, I think they would have. So that's kind of just, I wanted to let you guys know about this in case anybody mentioned it to you.
But the walkways are clear, right? The sidewalk is clear.
Yes,
Yes.
facilities does that.
Why
They,
can't they clear the snow? Is it too icy? I mean, it's been in the 40s, but
yeah, so it's too icy currently. And then I can't speak to when the plow happened. I think there was an issue with where to put some of the snow this year, to be honest. It was in such high volume.
but
But
now it's they anyway.
50 degrees
they
out.
said they're doing their best. That's what
Mm,
I heard from the admins, which I'm sure they are.
I'm sure they are. Okay.
I'm aware now that the handicap parking spaces are important to the visitors. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we, how does handicap parking work? I know that like stores have to put a certain percentage aside for handicap parking. Is that how we are? Does anybody know?
I know that it moved
Yeah,
closer to the building recently.
Well,
Not-
here in Florida, when you go to the grocery store, every handicap parking spot is always full. So as our population in Southborough ages, this is going to be more and more of a problem.
yeah, I think we need to keep an eye on it next year. But I think the volume of the snow created. There's also, I should just mention, because of the snow and ice, there's also parking spaces in the regular parking lot that are inaccessible. So this has been an issue. I just think next year we'll try to coordinate a little bit and make sure that the handicap spaces get special consideration, because obviously this was important to some of our users.
Hmm.
So, and
Brian, is this J and
again,
J that's doing the work for the DPW, or is it DPW itself?
I believe it's the latter, David. I think
Okay.
DPW actually has plowing equipment and they
Okay.
plow. But I don't know. I don't know the specifics. But I think I'm right. We will do the custom alarm as a separate agenda item, if that's okay. I did want to just give a little bit of an explanation for all of you, so that you know kind of what that agenda item is. And then the quote itself was also attached. So I think we'll just go to that when we get to the agenda item. Just an update on the computers. I'm always telling you guys like what we're planning on replacing. They're already coming up with a replacement schedule. I think after this, they'd like to replace some of the catalog machines because they are getting older. So really what's going to happen is I think IT is just going to be in a constant, review and replace kind of schedule. And then they're coordinating with me and we're putting them in touch with CWB Mars. CWB Mars has been very helpful to the IT department. And I should just mention that, we're a happy CWB Mars customer. So candidates night. I don't think I did a separate agenda item for this, but Janet, if you want to jump in, because we did have a quick conversation about this, even though Janet is away. We have tentatively set a date for Wednesday, April 29th. I have an update Janet doesn't know about, which is that I applied for Wegmans money this year, and for the first year, they said no. So we are not getting the catering money from them. I actually asked for less this year than I asked for last year. So we had upped it to 125. I went back down to 100 this year and they said no.
Did
So
they give
that,
you a reason?
yes, they said that they get a lot of requests. I can forward you the Dear John letter if you want. But they said that they receive a number of community requests. They wish they could fulfill everything. And unfortunately, they couldn't for this one.
Well,
I'm
they've
gonna
been
s-
good for a long time.
Yeah, but we should
I
send a little
wonder,
thing in. Okay.
I was just going to say, I wonder, I'm not sure how this works behind the scenes, and I certainly never want to create more work, but there is a new Big Y right on Route 9 between us and Wegmans. So I don't know if they would be interested in trying to break into the market a little bit. So that's just one suggestion. And I wonder if it's too soon to hit up Costco.
It was also suggested because they've been kind to us in the past to potentially reach out to the Roche brothers.
Yeah, I was gonna say Roach
about
Brothers does give out money.
yeah, so that was an alternate suggestion from my dad. I'll give him credit. And I don't know. I think we can explore other options if we want to try to get some nonprofit donations, but they have funded this. I would say they've given us something like $800 to $900 over the years, more than that. So this, I think they're well within their rights to say no. This has quickly become operational for them. We're asking them every year basically to cater the same event.
Yeah.
So I'm
What
not
about-
surprised.
What
I
about
think
Stop
Roach
and Shop?
Brothers, they don't very much anymore, but Roach Brothers does. They have, I think, an online application, at least for Girl Scouts. Price Shop, Stop and Shop used to give, and then they just kind of stopped. If you're lucky, they will. You have to take in a letter, you have to leave it, then you have to keep checking back. Roach Brothers has an online thing, just FYI. BJ's it does it too, apparently.
Okay.
Roche
Jane-
Brothers has really good food, if I can put that in there.
I think Jane was trying to say something. No? Okay. But anyway, if anybody has any suggestions and you want to send them to me one-on-one, I'm happy to do that. If you want to help in the efforts, I'm also happy to do that. Janet has graciously volunteered to moderate the evening. I don't know if you
Again,
want to.
I'm more than happy to set aside if someone else has their heart set on doing this and take a turn, it'd be fine. But in lieu
thank
of
you.
any other volunteers. Yeah.
Thank you, Janet.
Yeah.
Thanks, Janet. You did a
Yes.
good job last time.
Yes. Anything I can do to help out, or any of us, I'm sure will be glad to be your second in command. But it worked really well last time, I think.
I think
And
we've got
then-
it down to a fairly simple process, so.
Yeah, and in previous years, we have talked about if it gets too big to move it to the senior center because of all the logistics there. I have spoken with Jim about what the sort of forecast is. The only for sure contested election we know at this point is for a select board, which typically happens every year. So with 3 candidates for select board and 1 race, it's very likely we're going to do it at the library. I think we can more than accommodate it for that particular evening. Wednesday, April 29th is, I'm sorry, it is a Wednesday. That's what I was just going to say. If you guys can mark your calendars. I know sort of historically, like this is before I really was involved in the event, some of the trustees would kind of make things and bring it into candidates night. That is not a requirement, but I would just say if somebody wanted to like bake something and bring it in, I'm sure Marguerite recalls this. That is also something because of the Wegmans thing we are willing to consider. So just let me know offline if that's something you want to do. But I didn't know if you guys wanted to have a general discussion about candidates night. I think Janet wanted to check to make sure that no one else wanted to volunteer. So I think we did that.
As
But if
everybody
you have,
takes 2 steps back.
um, yeah, but I think Janet, again, she's playing it cool, but you're not going to offend her if you ever wanted to do this in a particular year. I think she's happy to let somebody else, get up on the podium. So
Yep.
just
Or if anybody else wants to like be involved this year with the idea of taking it over in the future sometime, that would be fine too. But in lieu of that, I'm happy to do it.
Marguerite,
I think it's an
quick
important
question.
event.
Are you no longer running for a third public office? Is that true?
Which one?
I don't know. I heard you were running for another office. Is that not true?
That was, no, yes, it is not true. That
Okay.
was a temporary thing. I'm just gonna add my name into the select board race for now. That's it.
Okay.
A couple updates on the Friends. I just wanted to make sure, and I don't want to put Mary on the spot. There was some discussion at last week's meeting about doing the community yard sale again, which we had done the prior year. I wanted to make sure that as far as utilizing the parking lot, that was okay with everybody again. I think that ended up being a community event that exceeded my expectations. The Friends did make some limited funds. I think they are looking to charge more per table this year because it's no longer kind of a beta. We're testing this out so we can see kind of what the response is. They did sell every table last year. So there was the interest existed to do this. And I think to have it again, some people were asking. So I don't know if you want to have a discussion about that.
Do we know a date that they're looking at?
No, the last time they did it in late June. So we are exploring different ideas in the summer. I think it has to be somewhat strategic. The big book sale is in June as well, so that was part of their discussion. I think they like the idea of the library being accessible for the restrooms. So that was one of the reasons it wasn't in July or August, because they couldn't do it on a Saturday. So
Is,
I can keep
is,
you up. Sorry.
is there a date for the book sale?
No, but there will be, I can report on that next month. It's most likely going to be in early June. I think we're trying to avoid Father's Day weekend. But that said, I might be saying that and then it might be Father's Day weekend. I said that. So I'm going to check. Diana Tremblay was not at the last meeting. So I'm going to try to coordinate with her and get potential dates from her um, probably in the next couple weeks. So I'll be able to tell you potential dates, maybe definitely for the book sale and maybe for the community yard sale at the next trustees meeting. So I'll keep you posted.
Would it be worth, is it possible to do both the same day?
That was discussed.
Would you like
Sorry.
me to address that, Ryan?
Sure.
So, Janet, fabulous idea. Discussed both last year in advance of the inaugural yard sale and again last week at the Friends meeting because, the Friends tend to have, with their events like this, they tend to have their best days when it's coupled with some other activities, right?
Right.
So, and we see that across the board in December when everything is kind of coordinated around Santa Day. So the reason it wasn't done last year is not only because it was like a beta test for it, but there's a couple of issues. Parking becomes an issue because you need some of the parking lot for the book sale and you need some of the parking lot for the actual community yard sale. We are in the process, or we approved money to purchase new tables, so that should take care of a lot of table issues that we had in the past. But the other major issue, which pains me to bring up all the time, but is just a reality, is that we have the same manpower for every event. And so it pretty much is all hands on deck for the book sale. And if we focus in that way, there's really no one left to take over and coordinate the yard sale portion of things. So that would be kind of my synopsis. Last year, Diana, who runs the book sale, beautifully articulated these things, and really, while acknowledging the advantages of coupling events, had some real strong and I think accurate kind of like reservations about not wanting to diminish the manpower or the possible sales in the book sale to split our energies. Is that accurate, Ryan?
Yes. The other thing that I would mention, and I sound like a broken record in the Friends meetings, is that the library is operating that day. So there are just general members of the public trying to get to the library.
Yes.
So then it's like they have to navigate both the book sale and the yard sale on top of that. And I just, I think it is a too many thing, right? So we'll again, all of the discussions are still ongoing. I think if there was a way logistics wise to work out doing both events at once, that would be a possibility. But I do think the yard sale, it was taking up so much of the parking that we couldn't do anything else. That's my opinion. So, but as far as, and I don't want to ruin your thunder, Mary, but just as far as the Friends utilizing the parking lot to do this event, are we all okay with that? Okay. Sorry, go, Mary.
No, I was just going to say, I'm sure what I'm about to say is a little bit premature, so apologies. But to this point, too, about trying to maximize the events that we're doing at the last Friends meeting, a lot of suggestions were thrown out about how to potentially have like a more robust Friends membership sign up table that's separate from the checkout desk at the book fair. I mean, at the book sale, that could also potentially have, some of our extra socks for sale, have some of the swag. And then perhaps even the Friends had been discussing, I think it had been on our agenda too in a past meeting, of the idea of raffle baskets. And so perhaps we could seed that by having, a raffle basket at that table. Some of the high school volunteers or Mariana's crew man that table really with a lot of outreach, and see if that gets us some more interest in members and membership dollars that way, but also can see the idea of a raffle basket and start get people thinking about other ways to support the library. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Sounds like a great idea. Sounds like a great place to do it too.
Mm-hmm. Can I just comment that I love Mary's like support of the library in her clothing?
I'm trying.
We should all get
Another
on board.
successful Friends fundraiser.
Madeline Albright
Yeah.
with all of her pins for various diplomatic efforts.
Then
Could I make a comment here? And I don't know if it doesn't fit in here, but it's sort of is candidates night and the Friends. I was looking for signatures for my nomination papers, and I went to the library on a day that there was a program for toddlers in the children's room, and it was Jenny singing. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but now I know what it means. And once it was over, I asked all the different parents, grandparents there. None of them were from Southborough. And I wondered, one of them was a nanny and the child was from Southborough, but the rest from other towns. It just occurred to me, as far as money, would it be something to think about to charge a small fee for people who didn't? I mean, we pay Jenny, so who aren't Southborough residents. Now, I know that doesn't sound very welcoming, but I was very surprised that none of these adults were from Southborough. Comments?
So my initial comment would be, I have also experienced this at other events, like the wonderful painting event that happened, that we have amazing attendance at. And I think it's delightful to see a variety of people there from different communities. I understand what you're saying, Jane, because if you could very well think, I'm just going to say that when
I'm
I
not
was,
taking
no, no,
away
no, I
from
know.
the
No, of course
events
not.
are incredibly
No,
popular. The parking lot is jammed,
I totally
all
get that.
kinds of
I would just
kids,
say,
but I just thought, wait a minute. What?
so I have two things to say that are related. Number one is, especially in that age group, parents and or nannies library hop day to day. So on any given day, I could be at the Southborough Library or the Northborough Library or the Shrewsboro Library. So I personally experienced library programs according to their schedules across the board. So I want to just see that I think that there's a great deal of reciprocity that happens that I think is really important. So that's what I would say to it.
Interesting.
Ryan, can you speak to charging for programs?
Sure. So our community members are able to go to different libraries and take advantage of their free public programming. We do provide the public programming for free generally as a rule. And that's just so that it's egalitarian, everybody can take advantage of it. Um, we call that program, it used to be called Kids Jam when Amy Kaufman ran it. That is somewhat of a unique animal, for lack of a better term, because um, the presenter Amy would do it in Medway, and she was well known at other libraries. When she started doing a Friday morning singing program, she sort of had an audience who kind of came with her, if that makes sense. Amy kind of took a break for the winter months, and Jenny, who's a staff member, offered to take over because she wanted to do programming, and I think she does a very effective job. I think you probably saw a little bit of that, Jane. I think she's very good at doing kids programming.
No,
Yeah,
that wasn't my point, and I knew
yeah,
this wouldn't be popular, but I just was
yeah.
just just saying I was very surprised. I mean, there were lots of adults there, and I get what Mary's saying, so we can move on. It was, I
No,
mean, I just personally was surprised,
but Marguerite and
but
I
I
have
get
gone
it.
to yeah, Marguerite and I have gone to ticketed events at the Worcester Library Foundation. Like I would say there is a mechanism. I would go to ticketed events that you had to pay for at the New York Public Library. Like it's not this isn't a wild idea, Jane, to be honest, is that there may be an opportunity to do some type of sort of paid or ticketed programming, especially if we need to make up the difference on the money. I would identify a program like this is probably something maybe we need to do better marketing for our local community to try to get our residents to take more advantage of. But
Well,
you know,
I didn't realize what Mary said, that there's library hopping. I'm way, my children are in their 30s, but um I respect that. I just thought with all our fighting to get funding for these programs, would
I,
a little
I,
help.
yeah, I would also identify that a program like that would be a good opportunity to maybe have some sort of friends presence. When Amy is doing the program, her compensation is through the friends. And then I think Amy is planning to come back in the spring. So maybe this is a good opportunity to mention that people can join as a member of the Friends. They can make donations to the Friends to support programming like that. And then that money will directly go back into that programming. We're trying to do a better job of marketing and letting, you know, know what Friends programs are funded and what is funded out of our budget, I guess. So that, again, this is not it's not a wild idea, Jane. I'm just going to say that it's worth noting,
I
especially
thought
if it's a
Jenny
Can
was
I
great. It
Mary,
doesn't,
Mary,
I
go
mean, I
ahead.
liked it. I thought it was delightful and it was very well attended. I just,
yeah.
I have
I
a like
just,
a I have a quick question to follow up on this for where the conversation is going. So when the friends ask for money at an event, it's not really an ask. It's just like, oh, this was sponsored by the Friends. Please donate if you can. And at the past couple of events, even the last candidates night included, we had like a little donation jar on a table, right? Are there rules against literally passing that jar?
Like the movie
Yeah,
theaters.
probably. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
sign all
So,
kinds of things
It's a little
about
tacky.
campaign
see,
finances and
right? Yeah. So I just, yeah. So I just wanted an answer to that because it makes me uncomfortable to think about that. But I wanted to
you mean
just
like a
get some
tip
clarity on that.
jar or something. Come on, you're enjoying yourself and having our food, and I knew you wouldn't like it, but I just had to bring it up.
Well, do they say anything about, I mean, I'm not really in support of passing it, but do they say, and anybody who is willing to contribute to, events like this, please feel free to utilize our tip jar. I mean,
We typically don't, but I think maybe with some of the, again, because the Friends have had such diminishing returns on a lot of the programs that they're funding, like this is the other reason why this conversation I think is helpful, Jane, because I think we need to be forward thinking. We need to think about what are the type of people who are utilizing our program. We need to think about how the Friends need to maintain and again, this is more the Friends versus us, but like the Friends have a direct financial impact on our ability to provide programming. So I think part
Yes.
of this is we
what
need
they
to
do.
start thinking about ways that the Friends need to be supported. And I think maybe the disconnect between the trustees and the Friends needs to maybe start evaporating a little bit just because we need the Friends. We really do need the Friends to be successful at the end of the day. And I think highlighting what they're doing, and maybe we don't say, give us your money at the beginning of a program, but we say, here is an area where if you like a program like this and you want programs to continue, you can contribute to help make that happen. Like
Mhm.
that's what we say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just thought this is a little ironic. That's okay. All right.
David,
Thank you, Ryan. Covered.
did you have your hand up, David?
No.
Okay. I just think similar to that, Jane, is the senior center, which has a lot of people from a lot of towns,
Hmm.
and they're kind of proud of it because they know it's an attractive and successful senior center. So they're sort of like, because I've seen the same thing. No, I'm from Westboro and I come every Tuesday.
Yeah, no, I know that. It was it was good to
Really,
talk
Shirley?
about it, but I
Yeah.
understand the value of I understand, so we can move on. It's fine.
Um, I will give you guys a date for rescheduled QPR training for obvious reasons. Sarah and I wanted to take a break. We were worried that if we rescheduled it and had a date for you at this meeting, then we would have incurred the wrath of a snowstorm again. But it was really silly that this happened. Every time we tried to reschedule it, there was a problem. So we are planning to do it. I think we're looking at a revised spring date, if that is okay with you. Same deal. We're going to plan to close the library early that Monday. You guys will be invited to the QPR training. We're trying to look at dates where all of the full-time staff are able to attend if possible, and then the part-time staff will be invited. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
Okay. Shall we move on to the expense report?
Yes.
Okay. What do we got, Brian?
Well, I mean, I don't know if anybody looked at it. I'm okay. I have nothing I'm worried about because we did the deep dive on salaries already. So I know that was kind of like very expensive, but as far as all of the other line items, we're moving right along. We have kind of plans in place. We are kind of being First of all, I have not submitted any travel expenses, so I promise I won't try to do that because I have to do a different one for last year versus this year. But I know that hasn't been subtracted. We're really waiting on professional development as well, even though it's a tiny amount. It was because we have spent it all at the end of last year. The same thing kind of has to happen this year because a lot of it is annual membership renewals. Um, Then we're good on educational supplies, which is big. Office supplies, I'm kind of waiting to do a big order in sort of quarter 4, which starts in April. So I think we are also probably April, May, you will see that exhausted more. It's mainly because we use that for toner costs, which eat up office supplies very quickly.
Okay,
But if anybody has any questions in reviewing it, you want to talk about anything?
no, looks under control.
Okay.
Anybody else? Yeah, okay, the famous FY 27 budget.
This is just a check-in. The warrant, I think a draft warrant has been printed, so the revised budget went into that warrant. That is what you guys voted on last meeting is what's going into town meeting.
Oh, so they accepted that as enough adjustment and the rest
Yeah,
is.
I never heard any feedback, so they didn't want to come back, I guess, and go back and forth with you guys on the decrease. I know Brian said thank you for decreasing, so I did get a thank you from the finance director, which I'm passing along now. But I didn't hear from advisory or the select board.
The
So,
select board is meeting with advisory tonight to do a final run through on that.
okay, so maybe we'll hear more after that meeting, but I haven't heard anything prior to, I guess, tonight. So.
Good.
But that's it. I have nothing else to say on the budget. I like to keep it as a standing agenda item until it passes. So hopefully
Wise
this
move.
is the last time.
Wise move. Okay, tell us about the security cameras.
Okay, so you guys did get a quote.
Yep.
I had a meeting with John. This was actually the day of the last trustees meeting. I had a meeting with Eric from Custom Alarm, and then John joined us a little bit later. We basically did an entire walkthrough of the building for about 30 minutes. We talked about different areas for camera placement. We also talked with Kim for a little while, and we talked with the library supervisors because I wanted to involve them. Kind of the consensus was in whether or not we should add an additional camera to upstairs. We kind of decided no as a group, only because the line of sight for the upstairs space is pretty clear. So there's not a lot of ways that you can not see what's going on versus the downstairs where there's a lot more issues. We really, in particular, I really want a camera in the Eaton room, which the supervisors have requested multiple times. In reviewing other areas of the downstairs, we talked about different opportunities and placement for cameras. We came up with, I think it was 3 additional cameras, right? 3, 4. So there were different areas that mainly covers hallways. We're going to put one in the children's room, but it's specifically going to cover an emergency exit. And then there's another one that's more on the doorway. The staff, Kim's concern, and I think she has said this even prior to my tenure as director, so she's been saying it for over 10 years, is that she doesn't love the idea that staff members would just be filmed 24/7 while they're doing their job. That said, she's also very understanding that we're in a different environment and a different climate than when this was first discussed many years ago. I think also it has been helpful to have the cameras we did have installed and see the value in having increased security here.
Ryan,
so
let
that
me
is
interrupt just for a second.
Yeah.
Kim has reservations. Are there reservations coming from any other staff members?
No, I think everybody was very pro camera. Kim, and I should say this, Kim, we addressed Kim's feedback. Concerns might be jumping a little bit. I think she did have some feedback. She was very specific about where she wanted cameras placed on or near the children's room, which I think that to me was really, we had to satisfy her being happy with where the cameras were going to be put. And I think she is.
Okay.
So
I have a question. Maybe I'm way behind the ball here, but do we put a notice anywhere saying that cameras are active and you're being recorded?
This was discussed. I think we do have something in the teen room about it. The other ones are on the doorways.
Okay.
I think that this is a good point to make, Janet. I think we should add additional signage stating this,
Yeah.
that
I
there
think
are
we
security
legally have
cameras,
to.
and yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you can
I
record people without
I don't
their
know
knowledge.
legally if we
Public
do.
space.
We talked to Eric about that, and he says that most public facilities have a lot of cameras. I guess they're in a lot of schools, he was telling me, so that they're not present in Southborough schools. We kind of confirmed that with John, but that they're in a lot of more public spaces. Again, I think we're just in a
Actually,
different
we maybe shouldn't be talking about that in a public forum.
sorry. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but anyway, we talked with him about that. I am happy to work with my staff and add additional signage about this.
Okay.
That's a good idea, I think.
Yes, thank you,
Well,
Janet.
it's a warning to people too. I mean,
Yes.
not only that you might be photographed in whatever you're doing, but also folks don't do anything, out of
Right.
line because we'll
Right.
get you.
Right, smile, you're on camera, right?
Hmm.
Anyway, question, can you tell me about this company and what the process was to arrive at this company to use for our cameras?
So they are the alarm company
Mhm,
that we have used for the entire time that I've been here.
mhm,
They were also the company that John worked with when we added the water alarms. So we do have, I think if half an inch of water starts to pool anywhere in the downstairs area, that is now tied into the alarm system. Um, I think John had, prior to us working with them on cameras, John had worked with them on cameras in other town
mhm.
buildings. So that was his first kind of go-to vendor.
Okay,
They're on the MHEC contract, so they do give us a contract discount for pricing. So that kind of mattered. And then when we had the capital item to install the cameras here initially, they were the company we worked with. So really, we kind of went to them first because we'd be adding additional cameras on the same system. Does that make sense?
yes,
So that's kind of, yeah.
I'm just worrying, well, I am concerned about continuity of service, so what you're saying sounds reassuring, thank you.
And then John and I did briefly explore pricing with other companies. Like maybe we just contract with another company and do like a separate camera system. But to be honest, their pricing is very kind. Let me put it like that. So I think that they are definitely letting us take advantage of the MHEC contract pricing.
Okay,
So
good, thank you.
that's the Massachusetts Higher Education Consortium. I'm using an acronym, I apologize. So that is, we are a MHEC member. We do go to vendors to try to get municipal discounts as an MHEC member. We're allowed to do that as a municipal department.
Ryan, do you want to say a couple things about the liability language?
I will let you, I was waiting for you to bring it up, David, so that you can let people know any concerns that you might have.
Well, yeah, Ryan and I have gone through this very carefully a few days ago. I'm very much in favor of the cameras. Make no mistake about that. What does trouble me is the language on the last page of this 3-page quote, uh, which is in my mind. I mean, neither Ryan or I are attorneys, but both of us, I think, can read the King's English, and there are issues here. Um, Paragraph 2, there's no mention of the duration of the warranty period. In paragraph 3, there's a number of troublesome things, but starting on the 7th line, says if the company should be found liable for loss or damage due to failure of equipment or service in any respect, its liability should be limited to a mere $250. This for a $6,000 contract. And then the next sentence is the most troublesome. It says this is the exclusive remedy, and the provisions of the paragraph shall apply if any loss or damage irrespective of cause or origin, results directly Sorry, I
or
lost my track.
indirectly to person or property from performance or non-performance.
Results directly or from negligence. In other words, the, the library is exposed here and indirectly, therefore, the town for negligence. And why would we sign a contract that absolves the contractor from negligence? I don't get it. There are other issues as well, but I know you were taking this up with town council or someone, Ryan, but I'll say it again. I'm very much in favor of doing this. I'm very much not in favor of these punitive language.
It's very, what's the word I want? Very indemnified, not to our benefit, for sure.
But these private contracts can't negate state law.
Correct.
I mean, they can say whatever they want, but if it does sound like these are things that you could contest in state law.
I also need to clarify, as I have for Mr. Eckberg, is that this is a quote and not a contract. We're not entering into a contractual agreement. So what they're asking me, I think a lot of this is boilerplate from the company, is my understanding.
Well,
I
sure.
also am not, I'm not familiar with the cameras being under a warranty period. So I did tell David that I'm going to check on that, and I have sent a message to Eric just to confirm. So I think it's mentioning a warranty period that I don't think is applicable to us. So again, I think that kind of stems back to the boilerplate issue. I think Mr. Eckberg he read this thoroughly, which I
Yes.
appreciate. I had read it, and I think a lot of it was kind of the language that makes me scratch my head. And I wasn't entirely sure what it was trying to say, but I think he raised some very good points. So I did the legal review form and I sent it in to Mark and Vanessa. Mark has actually been right on this, I have to say. I think I sent it in Thursday afternoon. He reached out to Tallerman's office, our town council, and he's having Liz Leiden, our old friend Janet from the
I
CPA.
know.
Yeah,
I
the
know.
CPA review. So Liz is reviewing this document and assessing any of the town and the library's liability concerning it. So she will come back and give me her review of the document and just say if she's concerned about any part of it. But again, I think doing our due diligence on stuff like this, we don't often see language like this. I can personally say I do sign quotes. A lot of it doesn't have this type of language. I think it's worth reviewing.
I
So
think it's
that's
not
what we're
just the
doing.
quote, though. I think it's, if you look at subsection 5, it's the entire agreement. This constitutes the entire agreement between the subscriber and the company. That looks like a contract to me.
Looks like a contract to me.
Well, again, this is making it even more important that we're having Miss Leiden review it.
So question for you, Ryan. They've already got cameras up in the library, right?
Yes.
Okay, has there been any issue with those cameras?
You mean like a technical issue
Something that
or
they would need to repair or replace?
no?
And they've been up for how long?
Over a year?
And-
Almost 2 years. I think it got approved 2 town meetings ago.
Okay, and then the other question is, how
Right?
many other buildings in town are using this company, Custom Alarms?
Oh, I think every town building is using them for alarms. I don't know about cameras. That I can't speak to. Mary really wants to say something,
No,
Marguerite.
no. I just, before you move on for that, can I ask a couple follow-up questions to yours?
Yes, please.
So great. So to that effect, a couple of notes that I wrote here. So I'm glad there hasn't been any issues with the cameras. Just in thinking about longevity here, is there, I missed the warranty. Is there a built-in warranty in here?
I don't know. I'm checking
Okay,
on
because
that with.
I don't see it.
yeah, because
Not there.
some of the right. Okay, so then because it does reference right. Okay, we'll leave that question there. My next question. So do you have, is there a maintenance service contract for the previous cameras?
We'd have to check with the facilities department.
Yeah,
So I can
that's
do that.
fine, because I see that there's language about that in here. And so then this all is building up to my major question of, once we purchase these things and install them, I'm glad things have been smoothly for the year, but then when they are not smoothly, are we then paying for that maintenance through the same, does that come back to us to figure out? And then, or does it go part of a larger like town umbrella for maintenance of equipment?
Yes, so I will check on this. This is my understanding, and I will be corrected by Mr. Parent if I'm incorrect, is that he could not, through the facilities budget, pay the 6,775 to do the purchase of the physical cameras and installation, as well as the additional hard drive storage for said cameras. What
Can I interrupt Ryan for 2 seconds? I just talked to John Parent and he would like to join our meeting. Can you
Okay.
admit? He said it'll be a couple seconds before he's on. At least he could explain what.
Sorry, and if my questions were already, if the answers were already obvious to everybody else, we can do this offline. I didn't mean to
no,
make it more
no.
complicated.
Well, Marguerite's getting them on the meeting.
Bring him on.
So John can correct me. I think that John takes care of maintenance for the cameras now, because the initial thing was through a capital article, and then facilities coordinated their installation. I think that the new cameras under the maintenance terms would then fall back to John. We're mainly the mechanism for paying this bill,
which I am totally in favor of. Yes.
Does that
I
make
just
sense?
wondered, it absolutely makes sense. I just wondered what the down the line costs to us might be that are not baked in that we're seeing right now.
That's a great question, actually.
Yep, the warranty is important, and I don't see it. That's another question.
Well, in paragraph 4, it gives us a generous 5-day protection, 5 days. I don't know if you can call that a warranty, but I mean, there's just so many. Let me just make one last highlight here. The last sentence in paragraph 3 says the subscriber, that's us, agrees to indemnify, defend, and hold the company harmless from any and all claims, lawsuits, including the payment of all damages, costs, and attorney's fees. If we sign this, we're agreeing to pay their attorney's fees. I mean, this is just to call this boilerplate is just to
charitable, right?
To disregard the fact that it's just heavily one-sided.
So we have questions about the warranty. We have questions about if there's a service contract for maintenance.
Okay, so John is joining us now. Just give him a little bit of context so he can catch up to all of you. That's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's good that we can get.
If I've learned nothing else from dipping my toe into paying attention to town politics and budget requests, I feel like these down the line expenses are important to chase down and have an answer for in the beginning.
Absolutely. And thank you, David, for reading the fine print, which I skimmed. Good morning, John. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
We're looking at the customs alarm contract. They already have cameras up in the library, and that we wish to add some more. Ryan, maybe you can take it.
They're reviewing the quote that Eric sent me, John.
Yep.
That's what they're looking at. There's some language on the 3rd page that Mr. Eckberg has highlighted that he was concerned about. I think he's getting some concerns from Marguerite and from other members of the board. Can we start with easy questions for John, if that's okay, before we go into that? Because John is also not a lawyer. So one is, if we do the purchase for the cameras, are you aware of whether or not the cameras are under a warranty?
I am not aware of that. Generally, something like that is generally not. If it is, it's going to be a short-term warranty. They're not going to be super long warranties on like an electronic piece of equipment.
Okay, if the new cameras that we purchase are to, like, we haven't had a problem with the cameras that were installed with the capital project, but if these new cameras were to be damaged or needed to be replaced, or if they have a maintenance service need, what is that cost facilities or the library? Or
Generally, we would
discuss?
try to help you out. That's something we'd work together at the time, but it is a repair to a permanently attached piece of equipment to the building. So if it was like a $20,000, we wouldn't have it. But it was like a couple $100 here and there. It's a repair. You know what I mean?
Which means you cover it or the library does.
Generally, for small repair on something that's permanently attached to the building, I mean, this is where it gets a little gray area because it's attached to the building, but it's also a piece of technology. And that's where, it could fall into library, facilities, or IT. And,
Okay,
it's like
yeah.
that.
So here's a good example. The facility staff was here this morning. They were talking about changing the clocks over. They were asking if there's clocks in the Judy Williams reading room. So David has been asking me to talk to facilities about this for a while, is that there is a very antique clock that's installed in the building in that room. So I said, like, we have a trustee who's been asking about this clock for a while. I don't know, like, how to assess this. I don't know how to change it. I'm assuming it's expensive. So they have an appraiser, I think, that they work with on stuff like this. So if he comes out for something else, I think hopefully John has to approve all this. They might take a look at it. But if there's a substantial cost, I think John's going to come back to me and say, do you guys want to pay this? Right? Which
Well,
I think
honestly, the
is,
nice thing, right, on that one, is that the one that's over the door?
yeah.
That one might be something for CPC, actually. That's a historical part of the building.
Oh,
Yeah, do you want, if we do a restriction on it, guys?
Not the inside.
No,
We're already
no.
doing the outside.
Talk about a dirty word.
Yeah, really.
Um,
Sorry, Janet.
okay,
Sorry to
so
raise your blood pressure.
those were the, those were the easy questions. If you guys want to, I don't know, David, if you want to outlay some of the language again for John. I'm sorry to make you repeat yourself, but he can try to talk to the best of his ability on the quote.
John, hi. David Eckberg here.
Hi, David.
The language in the third page of this this quote, which interestingly enough, as Ryan pointed out, didn't even so much as include the amount, is very punitive, very one-sided, and is apparently explained away because it's boilerplate to the point where we're acknowledging that even negligence on the part of the contractor is our responsibility, and that any damages and costs and attorney's fees incurred by the company are our response, our meaning the libraries, which means the town. So there are other examples here that are similarly very one-sided, very punitive. And so that's why Ryan agreed to have town council take a look at it. I'm very much in favor of going forward with this, but I'd hate to see us ink a contract that leaves the town exposed inappropriately.
Yeah, by all means, if there's anything that you're hesitant on, I would definitely pass it on to Jay Tellerman's group and have them look at it. Just highlight your concerns and pass it over to Tellerman's, I would.
Yeah, we're doing that. We're having Liz take a look at the quote right now, John. So she should get back to us fairly quickly, I think. But I don't know what other questions we have for John.
I have a question for him. This company is called Custom Alarms in Mendon, Massachusetts. Do you have experience with them?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Tell us about it.
They're the alarm systems for the town, actually.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Are we the only town building with cameras?
I know, public safety.
Okay.
DPW's got some up at Transfer, and I believe South Union's got some ring type throughout the building.
Yeah, we don't want you to compromise town security, mind you, but we just wanted to verify that we're not the only
Yeah, I know.
camera
No.
site.
Okay, so Custom Alarms, the company, is liable to be around for a long time and not get bought out by somebody or go out of business. That's my other concern.
I would hope they're around for a long time. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, that sets my mind at ease on that. And yes, I have David's questions about the language in the contract. And yes, I'd like to know how long the warranties are, but as you say, it doesn't matter. And I'd like to know if there's going to be a service contract on these. Is there on the other ones in town? Like the DPW is not hiding the fact that they've got a camera because they need a camera on the compactor because people abuse it. Has there, if there's a problem with those, Custom Alarms takes care of it then?
For repairs? Yes.
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 All right. Okay, that answers my questions. Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you for your time, John. This is extremely helpful.
Oh, no
Thank you,
problem at
John.
all.
Thank
While
you.
while we have John here,
Aha. Sorry.
does,
Bait and switch.
does
Bait and
yourself.
switch.
do any of you have questions for him about the update on the preservation restriction?
We're just waiting, right?
Just
Seeing
like we're in the
none.
holding pattern now. Yeah.
Okay, because John was nice enough to join the meeting right now, and I know Mr. Ekberg had suggested having him here in case there were any questions. So I just want to make sure that there's no pending questions. John is okay to proceed, and then he'll just kind of advise us as we go, as he goes. Okay, and I thank you, John, to working on this and moving this forward. We do appreciate it.
Janet
You're
had a
most
question.
welcome.
Oh,
So
thank
we
you.
didn't
Right,
see
Janet.
the final thing that went in, but we had a number of suggestions. You incorporated them all. It's my
Mhm.
understanding. Okay.
Anything the council would allow us to. I think there was one she didn't allow, but it just couldn't be, from what I recall, at least.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
thank you a lot.
You're most welcome.
Is John okay to go?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Everyone have a great day.
You too.
Thank
See
you,
ya.
John.
No problem. Bye.
That's great. That saves many hours of speculation.
Mhm.
All right. I don't have any more questions about the alarm.
Okay, so I will wait to hear from legal. The quote is going to expire, so the pricing may change. I don't know if you guys want to meet, like wait until the next meeting before we are to approve the amount and we get those answers, or there's another version of that. Like you want to give me conditional approval to sign it if everything gets okayed. I don't know what you want to do. I just want to let you know if we wait another 30 days, I don't know if Eric will honor the pricing. Hopefully he will because of the relationship he has with John in the town, but I just can't guarantee that. So I'm letting you guys know that.
So here are my thoughts. I think my sense is we have conditional approval pending hearing back from legal, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
And are we in agreement on that sort of?
I disagree. I don't think
Okay.
we should, I don't think we should do anything until we hear back from legal counsel on this. It is so punitive, it is so one-sided that it's scary to me. It really is.
Okay, so we need clarification on that. Can you ask Eric if he can give us another 30 days while we wait to hear?
Yes.
Good.
I'm willing to make a provisional approval based on Ryan's, reading of the feedback. I don't think we need to all hang over his shoulder to that extent.
So
Okay,
this,
go
just to
ahead.
clear,
Yeah.
sorry, Marguerite, I'll let
No,
you
go
go.
ahead.
Sorry.
I was going to say, you can make a motion or we can vote to provisionally approve.
Does anybody else want to speak to that?
Oh, wait a
well,
minute. Ryan has the timeout sign up. Yes.
Just before you do, because I want to clarify, because we've spent so much time talking about the content of the quote, we didn't talk about probably the most important piece, which is how to pay for it. So this amount is too large to come out of the library's budget. Just as a where this amount most likely should come out of, in my opinion, is state aid because we're over $5,000. So if you do approve the quote, I think it also, you should add to any motion where the money is going to come from, if that's okay. So I would say like vote to approve and fund it out of state aid. But that's, again, I'm just advising you, you need to have a mechanism for how to pay for it because I can't pay for it out of the budget. Sorry to do that logistic piece.
How much is in state aid right now?
A lot. Let me look.
90 something thousand.
More. I got a Q2 update from Debbie on the end of January. I got to download it because the type is too small for me to read. Sorry. We have almost $150,000. It's 148, 625 and 3 cents.
Thank you. I support using state aid for this. So Janet, do you want to make a motion to provisionally?
I move that we approve the contract for the alarm systems with the money coming from state aid pending feedback from the attorneys on the language, the lack of liability, et cetera, language in the, I'm not sure whether we can refer to it as a contract, kind of looks like it. So leave the judgment up to Ryan as to whether or not we should go ahead with it or need to come back to us for further discussion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Okay, that's Mary. Okay, we'll vote then. Ms. Maney,
Yes, aye.
Mr. Ekberg,
Nay.
Ms. Davis,
Aye.
Ms. Tinty.
Aye.
Is Amy still with us? I don't see her sign.
No, I think she had to leave.
Alrighty, and Landry is aye, so that is 4 yes, 1 no, 0 abstains. Okay, thank you.
I'll just mention now that the vote has been cast, I would like to try to satisfy as many of David's concerns about this
Absolutely.
before
Yeah.
proceeding. So I think that's just worth noting is that I would like to continue to work with him, if that's okay with the rest of the board, to just
Yeah.
try to resolve as many of his concerns as possible before moving forward. If in my determination, it's not okay to move forward with this, this will be on the agenda for the next meeting. Okay.
Sounds
That
good.
sounds good. Yeah,
Perfect.
sounds good. My other question is, when the first cameras went in, was this document, was a document with similar wording signed?
The person who can answer that is John Barrett.
Oh, we're gonna let the
Sorry.
poor man eat his lunch. Okay, all right.
I'm sorry to laugh. It's just
No.
I'm sure he signed a very similar document to this.
All
So,
right.
but
Okay.
I'm saying that and I don't know. I don't know what John agrees to.
Well,
He
it's
doesn't.
it's to me it's reassuring that they've been working with the town for years on security cameras. So
Mhm.
there's that. Anyway, shall
Oh,
we?
Amy's in the, sorry,
Oh,
Amy
Amy
was
came
in
back.
yeah,
Oh,
she was in the attendees and I didn't see her. So
oh,
she could hear us. I'm sorry if she missed the vote because of me. I'm trying to let her back in the meeting now.
yeah. She was here for a while, and then poof.
Yeah.
Oh, she might be driving.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Mhm.
Okay. Moving on.
Library Staff Appreciation Week, which we sort of need Amy for, but Ryan, maybe you can fill us in.
Yes, I think we decided on the week last time.
Mhm.
It's going to be the second week. So Amy will send out details on it
Okay.
shortly. And then if you need Eaton, I can help coordinate that. We'll come up with a rough schedule. There is another meeting prior to this happening. That's the benefit of doing it on the second week, but we'll give you more feedback in between meetings if that's okay, just on what the schedule is and who's teaming up with who and
Good.
all of that.
David, do you want to do sandwiches again this year?
If I can do it with you, Marguerite, yes.
That's a deal. This will
Okay.
be year number 4, right? No, year number 3.
I don't know, but we're a good team.
There you go.
And
Okay.
Amy sent out a thing starting to work on the schedule, and she asked Jane and I what days were good for us, and I
breakfast.
responded, and Jane needs to weigh in.
And do you remember the days?
Well,
What
she
week?
opened it up
What
for Tuesday through Friday of that week.
I
Any
think
day,
we picked. Yeah, it's in what week in April?
the
Second.
week of the 12th. I had said Wednesday or Thursday was good. I have Wednesday written down on my calendar, actually.
Wednesday would be great.
Okay.
The 15th. Yeah.
Yep. So if you just respond to my email, the 3 of us were copied on it, Jane.
Okay. Was that recent?
Yeah, it might have been the middle of the night last night.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't remember
All
when.
right. So
My
it
usual
was
3 to 5
yesterday
awake
then.
time.
Okay.
You do that too, right? Yeah.
I missed what month we're talking about?
April, the
April.
week of April 12th.
Okay.
So
Okay, so I don't see it, but really? You sent it last night?
I think
Janet?
so. Yeah, I'll talk to you offline. But yeah,
Okay.
let's make sure I hit send.
Yeah.
Always important.
Okay, yes, fine. It sounds great. We'll do breakfast. If you had a we'll talk about it later.
Oh, Amy's
Okay.
back with us now.
Okay,
Amy,
8
good.
hours ago, Jane, whenever that was. 8 hours ago, so 4
Sorry,
a.m.
Amy, for the technical. That was part of it
I
was me.
am. All right, I'm looking.
Amy, we're talking about who's going to do what for Library Appreciation Week.
Amy.
I've been here the entire time. I just couldn't talk
Oh, okay.
or
I'm
vote
sorry.
or
I'm
whatever, but
sorry
I've
you
been
weren't
here.
here for the vote.
I was here. I just couldn't talk. I was
Oh, all
silenced.
right.
I don't take it personally. No. Yes. So I was in favor of going ahead, just for the record. And it's the week of the 14th, the Tuesday through the Friday. So I'll put
Yeah.
Jane and Janet were the ones with issues with scheduling. So I'll put them down for Wednesday, and then I'll send everything else out if that works for everybody.
Thank you.
Perfect.
It was so fabulous last year. It was so fun to do it. Amy, thank you for moving this forward. I've said it before, but it's a great week. Yeah.
They really appreciate it. We appreciate them, and it's nice to make that known, I think.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyway, okay, so good. Ryan, the disaster emergency plan for the library.
I don't think I've done a lot between the past 2 meetings, but I do have the document. I will update it as time allows. I'm expecting I'll work a lot on it more at the conclusion of the town meeting, only because I'm sending out self-evaluations today to the staff. So I'm gonna start working on evaluations too in the background. But just if I do have time before town meeting to work on it a little bit, I will. A lot of it is tweaking it. It includes a lot of language about electronic card access for doors. So I'm having to revise that piece of the plan. But if anybody wants to look at it, I can print out what I've done so far. It's a long document, so you have to kind of plan to spend an afternoon at the library.
Once it's created, what happens with it?
It will stay at staff service points, and there'll be a copy in my office for you guys to review. We'll also be sending it to John and the chiefs, so the police chief and the fire chief, so they have a copy of what our emergency plan is.
Okay, that sounds good. Any questions about it? No? Okay, thank you, Ryan, for that.
I'd like to keep it as a standing agenda item only because it reminds me to work on it every
Okay.
time we talk about it, and it's important. I don't want to lose the thread on that particular thing.
And I assume you're looking at what other communities have prepared and taking from them.
Yes, I've gotten some invitations to go to libraries because they don't send out their plans. So I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was waiting until the weather was nicer before I did
Yeah.
that. Also, if anybody wants to do a road trip with Ryan and you want to visit the other library with me, I know some trustees have expressed interest, so I'm happy to take somebody along if they want to go. So I can keep you, if anybody's interested, just reach out to me one-on-one and I'm happy to, if schedules align, bring you with. So
I love that road trip with Ryan. Okay,
road
sounds
trip with
good.
Ryan.
Brian, quick question. Does this at all relate to the presentation 5 months ago by Lieutenants McCarthy and Wayland of the Southwell Police Force? The what was it called? The active shooter, active shooter slash active assailant preparedness for library staff. Do we need to follow up with that, or is that a
So
separate
that
issue?
so this is the follow-up. Well, actually, kind of we've been spending for like 20 minutes talking about the follow-up. So like this plan is what they suggested we put into place, like
Right,
a disaster plan,
right,
where if things happen and they're really bad, like what do the staff do? Can they refer to a guide on
right.
that? And we're coordinating with their departments on it as well, fire as well.
Okay,
And then the cameras were an additional outcome of that conversation, is that the police department liked that we had cameras and suggested we get more. So that was the other reason why we were looking into custom alarm and talking to them about where we could do additional coverage.
okay.
So
Okay,
we're making the library more secure. That's the good news.
always good. Okay, did library director evaluations?
I am working on a self-evaluation, as my staff will be working on self-evaluations they're sending in to me. I will be working on one to send to you. As you know, it is my annual opus. I tend to go on and on in this document, but I like to help give you guys content to write about when you start the evaluation process. The evaluations are due. I don't know when they'll be due. They were due pretty early June last time. So I know we're only in March, but we only have X number of meetings before
Right.
we have to work on something and you guys have to approve it. So I want to try to get you this before the next meeting, so that you have something that you can review and then you can start that process.
Good. And this is your first full year on a contract too.
Correct.
Right. So last year, I can't remember what the issues were. Last year, because of a decision made in some other town or a state thing in some other town, we were going to change the way we gave feedback. And then we did or did not change, and I don't remember what the issues are, but how are we doing it this year?
There was something about it had to be all discussed in an open meeting or not, but it seems
So
to me that it's a
the personnel board has kind of made it so that the content of the evaluations, they're not actually reviewed by the personnel board. They just get a cover sheet, which includes some like very, it's like what is the current pay rate, what is the proposed pay rate, what are the grade and step changes, stuff like that. For that is, I think it's under SAP employees too. So now that I have a contract with you guys, Janet, I don't know if that changes things considerably. I think you can evaluate me in any way you want. I will state this again. You may have another library director at some point in the future. I'm not planning on leaving, just to let you know. But I do not mind having my review done completely publicly. Again, I know that some people may not think that that is something that they want. I do not want you guys to not be critical of my work performance. It is appropriate for you to do this. This is the forum that you give me feedback. And it is helpful if that feedback is constructive or will help me improve. So please do not worry about hurting my feelings. Maybe this is my annual pitch for that. I'm happy to hear from everybody on areas that they think I can do better. I promise you, there are many areas I can do better. So let me know what are the areas you want me to focus on in the next year, and I will endeavor to do that. Okay.
Okay, so the form that we've been using prior is the one for the SAP employees, and it has a lot of different categories. My fellow trustees, do we want to stick with something like that to use as a backbone for our comments? How do you
Well, Ryan, do you find that format helpful?
I
'Cause, I mean,
do. I'm
that's the
using the
point of
same.
performance reviews.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna level with you. I think other departments don't have their employees do self-evaluations, but I do. It's necessary for me to have staff provide feedback. And then I also meet with staff. Um, I have a preliminary meeting with them where we go over some of the self-evaluation stuff. I have a draft of their review that they kind of give me feedback on, and then we have a discussion, and then they typically go back and do comments, and then we have kind of a final review meeting. Some of these meetings are very quick, depending on the employee. Sometimes they are a lot longer. I find that the meetings with Kim and Mariana in particular end up being planning meetings where we're talking so much about what their goals and sort of hopes and dreams for the next year are, like that gets integrated into that piece. So the self-evaluations to me are a very essential tool. So even though the staff are not required to do them, I kind of say I need them in order to do it. I think you guys need that from me in order to do the review too. I think there's a lot of aspects about my job that even though we talk in these meetings for a while, you may not be aware of. I try to make sure that the self-evaluation captures that. I know I've gotten feedback from several members of this board saying, I read this in your self-eval and I didn't know that. That to me proves the value. So I think that these tools that we're using are effective. But again, if there is something that you guys want to review, you want to change it up, you just let me know, you know.
The self-eval, definitely. I like the structure of the longer one too, even though what we've been doing is sort of combining everybody's comments in the different sections. And sometimes the longer one seems to be more generic than you need, but maybe it's not. I don't know. What do the rest of you feel about that? Do you find that the longer form useful, or would you like a shorter one, or just conversational? How do you think, Mary?
I
You're
find
you're
it very
talking about,
useful.
sorry, you're talking about the one that I filled out for the first time last year, the
Yes.
longer, yeah.
Yes.
So
Leadership, communication.
I think it's useful. However, I will share that when I made comments, I found that my comments were applicable in multiple categories.
Yep.
And therefore, I never struggle with having a lot to say. However, 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 in wanting to be as succinct and helpful as possible, I almost felt like I was stretching too much. Whereas for each, I want to say there were like 6 different categories, right? And then
Right.
little summaries for each one. I was struggling to find something new and meaningful by the 5th one because I'd already said
It was
in 1 or
redundant.
2.
They were
Yeah.
redundant. And you write some sentences and then figure, oh, I can cut and paste and move them to where they actually should be, which is the next question, right?
Right.
Yeah, I know.
So maybe if we just use it as a framework, but
Yes.
Yeah.
not feel like we have to literally answer each one. Particular, there's sometimes there's like I have no information about that particular topic,
Right.
and
Yep.
I don't
Right.
want to just
Yeah.
make something up. So yeah,
Right.
if we just
No,
use
I
it
feel
as a
like
framework, do the best we
communication,
can.
like a good category to talk about is communication. I always have a lot to write in that when I'm working on the employee evaluations. And then like another one is I forget, it's like a like punctuality or like you know what I'm talking about? It like rates somebody's like, and then I always say they know how to open and close the building. The review to review, it is very similar because there just isn't a lot to write in that category. So I know what you're talking about. I will share with you, Mary, that some of the employee reviews, there is some redundancy there, and some of the language is similar because there isn't, it's not a creative category, let me put, for writing stuff that's constructive feedback.
Okay, so the document we're talking about is the Town of Southborough Salary Administration Plan Performance Appraisal, right? So I have the one for 2025 here, and it's what you said, Mary and Jen. It's some of it's really redundant, but on the whole, I think it pushes into a lot of different areas of capability, which are fine. So I would suggest that we use this form just as Jen said, a framework for a discussion, right?
Sounds great.
And,
I like it.
if someone has something
Yeah.
that's not, I mean, think outside the box. If there's something that doesn't get specifically addressed, but you think is worth mentioning, we can do that as well.
Yep, good. Yeah, quality of work, job knowledge, productivity, communication, collaboration slash interpersonal skills, leadership. Those are all good areas. So no reason to reinvent the wheel. They've already got a good wheel here. We just don't need to maybe be such sticklers with, is this a communication thing or a leadership thing? Which is where it was confusing. Okay, good. So, and we look forward to your self-evaluation, Ryan, which is always fun because we always find out literally you're doing things that we never knew, right? Excellent.
Just a quick update on the cameras because I'm never not working for you guys. All of the camera equipment is under a warranty for a year. Eric just confirmed that. I have followed up. I told him thank you, and I followed up with him saying, could we have additional time to review the quote? So hopefully he says yes, and we'll go from there. But he's very responsive, I have to say. I sent him a quick message during this meeting, and he got right back to me. So
That's
Excellent.
good.
Good. That's great.
Thank you.
Good sign. Yep.
Okay, so can we move on to the annual town meeting handout slash presentation?
yes, do we want to do it?
Do
You
we need
mean-
it? Yeah.
Do we need to do it?
Well, since we may have a potentially contentious budget, probably yes. I'm going to say yes, Jane.
Okay. All right, then.
What if we don't end up having one though? Maybe we should just
Bag
let
it.
We don't
slide.
we don't need to. I typically do, I have to do the presentation on the Peggy Tuttle Award in the beginning before it starts anyway. So we typically add some slides to that. We could just do a quick presentation and then not do a handout. So that's one option. We could do both. I think I could just present the Peggy Tuttle Award and that could be it. That'd be the
I
first
think the
year we ever did
handouts,
that.
people read those handouts. There's
Mhm.
long pauses during town meeting and people read that stuff. I think it's worthwhile doing.
And pictures of programs full of kids. That's really good.
Well,
have
not if
those.
they're not from our town. Oh,
I don't have,
Doesn't
I don't
matter.
have
not if
They
you
pictures.
wouldn't-
recognize a
They'll
soul.
never know.
I don't have pictures of
Maisie's
those
in all of them. You're
programs.
good.
Okay.
I make sure that the moms will recognize the Southborough kids and the ones I use for town meeting. Um, you know, so but in the past I have worked with former trustee Kim Regan on the handouts. I'm happy to reach out to her if that's okay.
Oh,
If
yeah.
any member of this board felt very strongly and wanted to work on the handout instead of me reaching out to Kim. I also don't know if Kim's available to work on this with me. So that's the other piece. I have not talked to her about this at all. So
Well, most of it is just update from prior year, right? Doesn't have to be reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the town meeting is the 11th, April 11th. And our next meeting is after that. So Ryan, do you just want to put together a quick, one-page handout?
Yes,
If
I
Tim
can
can't
send it
help
to
you, Ryan,
you.
I can help.
Oh, thank
Okay,
Sorry.
you.
thank you. So that's great. I can send you the meeting materials as I work on them. If anybody has individual feedback, they can just get back to me. If you like don't like a particular picture I use, you don't think a certain stat is helpful. I mean, I think things in the presentation, I'm gonna keep it pretty slim. I think because we had a slim one last year, and I think that that worked out. But I would like to highlight professional development and programming in
Programs,
particular,
programming.
because
Mhm.
those are um, the helpful pieces. But and then in the handout, I think it is useful to have some of the data on electronic usage, especially the hoopla, because that
Yes,
was a big piece of the budget
Okay.
the
Yeah.
summit meeting.
budget, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's also that's how sometimes people find out that things are available at the library that they didn't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Excellent.
honestly, I would like to highlight some of our electronic collections only because the usage has not been where I would like them to be. So I would like to maybe get the word out about them again. And I think
Mhm.
this is a good opportunity. So I'm thinking of it from
And
marketing too.
well, and I also think I can't remember last year's flyer, so apologies. I'm sure this is in there somewhere, but I wonder if it's worth specifically calling out a certain dollar amount saved by museum passes to the community. Because Beth has broken those out in different friend meetings. So I don't know if it's worth doing a tally of that or just alluding to the fact that it saves citizens hundreds of dollars.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, in the past, we've given at least half of a page to the friends. I'm kind of more open to maybe having a library side of the handout and then maybe having a friend side of the handout, which includes some of the information that Beth is saying, but then also maybe saying support the library, join the friends, something like that. Because
Mhm.
again, I think any way that we can start driving people to the
Yeah,
friends, we can start highlighting that the manpower is needed
Yes.
Mhm.
in things like the book sale and
yeah,
the community yard sale is kind of a key component to me. And then if there's more people on the friends, there's more fundraising that they can do, and there's a direct benefit to the library. So I
and
will
the friends
maybe,
part can take over some of the programming too.
yes, it's but I think especially with we always dedicate an area of the handout just to museum passes, and it's
Yeah,
almost like more appropriate to make that specifically a friends thing because they wouldn't
exactly.
exist without the friends.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
you know.
Oh, that's a good idea. So one page, two-sided. Sounds great.
I
I
think that
also
is a
think
good idea
highlighting, you
to,
said the digital stuff, because there are people who don't have children that use our library or
Mhm.
don't use our library because they think it's all about kids. So
And hey, some of them
Jane,
even
what were
live
you
here.
gonna say?
Kidding, I'm kidding.
nothing. I,
sorry,
I'm
Jane, I can't
I
see. I'm just hearing. So if I stepped on your
I think
toes, I
that
didn't mean to.
No, no, you
no, you're
didn't.
not. Absolutely not. No, Amy. The mentioning the expense of hoopla and its availability, I think are both very important because I don't
Mhm.
think people know it's there and it's a great service. And
Yeah.
it's our it's way more expensive than, well, because more people are using it.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
agree.
And also, it's becoming a more exclusive Southborough thing because now only Southborough residents can use it. And that is a benefit because a lot of libraries like Marlborough are priced out. They just can't afford it anymore. So
So,
that, it is like a benefit to Southborough residents in particular. So I think that's something we want to highlight.
well, it's a very successful program, that's for sure. Not program, but service that we offer.
Service, yeah.
Okay, so I think we're to public comment, and I think I see Sam and Tim in the panelists. Do we have any public comment? No hands
Do you
raised?
guys want to raise your hands if you want to talk?
They know how.
Thank you for being here, both of you.
Hi,
Yes.
gentlemen.
It's so for the minutes, Mariana, it is Timothy Litt and it is Sam Stivers. who were in the attendees. And I think I know Sam was joined when you guys first came on right at the beginning of the meeting. I think Tim was right behind him. So they've been with us this whole time. So thanks.
Yes, thank you for the support. Do we have any other business that shall properly come before the board today? No. Oh, date of next meeting, April 13th. That's a Monday at 11 a.m. on Zoom.
Yep. Deaf Appreciation Week.
Right after town meeting.
Yes.
Right.
Yay. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. I motion we adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Ms. Maney,
Yay.
Mr. Eckberg,
Yay.
Ms. Davis,
Yay.
Ms. Yazdani,
Yay.
Ms. Tinty,
Yay.
Ms. Landry is also yay. Janet, we all wish we were there. It's like, all right, so I'll see you next month and
I know, we
soon.
should try to do a meeting away from home.
Yes, a destination meeting. There you go.
Right.
Goodbye,
Jane,
everyone.
Okay.
Jane,
Enjoy
Marguerite,
the
you gonna be
sun.
around for a few minutes if I call you?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Bye.
Thanks.
Jane, can I call you if that's okay? Do you have a minute? After
Yes, I do. A minute.
Okay.
Yes.
I won't keep you too long. I have a specific gardener's question for you on how
I have
to
a
proceed.
question for you too, but I didn't want to.
Awesome.
Okay.
Mary, is that
Well,
good?
now we're all
It's not about
curious.
it's not about the kids program, I promise. I'm not even gonna
It's
tell
not
you.
about it's not about that. It's
We
about
can't, we can't give it
the
up here, people.
Okay.
Marguerite,
Can I
I'll
say
call
we already
you.
adjourned.
Yes, for the
Goodbye.
sandwiches.
I'd say I'd call you right now, but I actually have to run, so I can't. Didn't want you to feel left out. Me neither.
Marguerite, I'll call you and we will flatten scheme about sandwiches.
Yes, good. I look forward. All righty.
Okay.
Bye,
We haven't
everybody.
adjourned. Have we
Thank you.
adjourned?
We're
Yes.
Oh, we
adjourned.
did adjourn.
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
we did.
All right. We're good.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
The sun is out. We're all punchy. Yes. Bye.